Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around fantasy Premier League. My name's Serge.
And my name is James.
How we doing, James? You all right?
I'm all right, yeah, you boss.
Yeah, I'm disoriented. I'm sitting where you always sit to do the podcast right now because I'm back in London, mate, London town. And obviously you're in a different location, and I don't know, is this my desk or your desk that I'm sitting at?
I kind of feel like I've robbed it off you, boss. I'm being real.
This was always my desk, and then when I left to go to Portugal, it became your desk. But then I'm not coming back from Portugal, so it's kind of like I can't reclaim or claim something's mine when I've no intention of ever permanently.
What you don't know is when you're in Portugal, I have a sign that says on the door James's office, but I just take it off when you're coming back.
As long as it only says James office, you haven't put like CEO's office or I'm CEO bitch on the door or whatever like that. Not yet. All right, fair play. You can be the CEO of anything to do with FPL if you want. Yeah, I'm back in London. Eventful enough day traveling yesterday. I was in the air for all of the 2 o'clocks, James, but I got back in time to watch your team do something very similar to my team, but in reverse, play only half a game of football. It was the weekend of kind of half comebacks and turnarounds and that kind of thing as well. But
It's a great weekend of football, actually. We've been quite critical, I think, of a lot of the quality in the league this year, but that was a great weekend of football largely.
I would agree. However, like when I look down the results and I'm looking at it, and let's not forget there's still a game to go today in Sunderland and Burnley. Do you know the result that meant the most to me at the weekend? Have a guess.
The halftime one at Stamford Bridge.
No. Full-time results we're talking about, my friend.
Leeds losing.
No, Forest won, Palace won.
Oh, what, just to keep them both?
Yeah, I think when Forest were winning, I was like, oh, Christ. Like, I just a draw, because they can't both lose in that one, right? Leeds, the thing with Leeds and Arsenal is they were always likely to lose. I always thought that if Leeds got something out of that, then fair play, they deserve to stay up. But it was the Forest Palace. I didn't want either one of them to build any kind of gap, or both to just get a 1 point gap, let's say, when we were playing Chelsea's. So when you look down the results, and there's been all these entertaining games of football, and the one that I'm like, yeah, my result of the weekend, it's like probably one of the least exciting of them all. Did you know, James? Boss. There was the football wasn't the highlight of my weekend. Not what I thought. I thought it was going to be the UFC card that was in Sydney on Saturday night. Alexander Volkanovski defending his title. Ended up that there was more MMA action at Stamford Bridge than there was in Sydney, because the fights in Sydney were pretty boring and tame, to be honest. But Stamford Bridge became quite the ground for a bit of mixed martial arts at the end of the game.
Mate, Joao Pedro, honestly, I haven't laughed that hard at something like that on the football pitch for so long. When he pushed Traore, when Traore turned around, Traore looked like the fucking Hulk coming for him. Joao Pedro shit himself. You know, most players be thinking, I'm going to get you sent off here. He was thinking, fucking hell, I hope you don't get sent off, because that means he's going to lamp me. That guy bricked it.
Yeah, he did indeed. Yes, Volkanovski did well on Saturday night in the UFC, but trust me, I'd almost be more scared of coming up against Adama Traore in the octagon. All good. We'll talk about all of the games and the fixtures, and obviously all of the impact from a fantasy point of view as well. A few red cards at the weekend. Bukayo Saka coming off in the warm-up, the impact on a few players may have for people. Where did you land? What did you do with your transfers, and where are you from a points point of view?
So I bought Bruno Fernandes last Saturday night for Phil Foden. That felt like an obvious transfer. I mean, very much justified off the two players' returns. And then I bought Enzo Fernandez for Bruno Guimaraes. Late Friday night, Enzo Fernandez was close to whether he was going to go up or not. He went up Saturday night in the end. So good gain off those two transfers, but they were both kind of fairly inevitable. Okay week. I'm on 64 with Alderete to go. So Gabriel and Timber returns, Enzo Fernandez, Bruno Fernandes, Captain Haaland for his assist at Tottenham. I'm sure everyone who went against him was still shitting themselves when they saw the Tottenham team, and B, at half time thinking this is going to end about 5-0. Start of the week for me, doubled down on him, Hugo Ekitike. I've been very clear recently on wanting to keep hold of him, and that was he's got the second goal was an absolutely brilliant goal on Saturday. 13 points from him, so back up to kind of give or take 30k. With Alderete to go tonight, so not too bad at all. And David Hunter, I know, scored exactly the same team because he's ended up with the exact same 11 as me, by the way.
Copying content creators. Which content creators copying which content creator?
You know what that also means? It means his rank's quite good at the moment. He's a smart man, David.
Oh, fair play. I should copy you more. I'm on 56 as it stands at the moment, James. I think the difference between your score and my score kind of sort of roughly is Brian Brobby, because I've still got Alderete to go today, but I've got Brobby still to go as well. So any kind of return from him should be closing that gap a little bit. Very similar team to you in the double Arsenal defence at the back, returning for me. Bruno Fernandes, Enzo Fernandez and Erling Haaland returning for me. I've got Jared Bowen to your Hugo Ekitike, so 8 points versus your 13 as it stands at the moment. And you've obviously had an extra player in Thiago play at the moment. So Brobby and Alderete for me. I made the Bruno Fernandes Phil Foden swap very early in the week, bringing Bruno in just to avoid the price rises. It then got to Friday night, and the choice was quite straightforward. I was always going to sell Ekitike for Brobby, which was going to free me up money to move on Granit Xhaka, who obviously was flagged and we'd heard was unavailable. The easy option was Morgan Rogers. The bigger upside option was Brian Bumo. I had the money. I felt fruity, so I went with Brian Bumo instead.
I don't think you made a bad choice.
Yeah, it's fine. It's obviously over a longer period of time now. So, yeah, gonna wait and see if that plays out. It didn't, obviously, this weekend, but I'm hopeful that it does come in. Because my feeling was that is he going to play more as a number 9 as we've seen him play? And if he doesn't play as a number 9, he's definitely playing coming in off the right. So let's go with Bumo. So yeah, 56 points with Alderete like you, but Brian Brobby also to go tonight.
What are you thinking next?
I'm not, to be honest. Pretty set.
Okay, cool.
I don't feel. I mean, I've only got the one now because I used up all of my free transfers. But I don't feel any particular pressure to move. I've got no issue with the front line. Like Erling Haaland is not going anywhere. Brobby I can bench this week. Jared Bowen stays for me. He seems to be playing much better now that he's got a couple of strikers in and around him. Yeah, the two players in my squad, well, 3, let's say, that are not filling me with joy are Lacroix, Nico O'Reilly, even though he was kind of a bit more advanced yesterday. And Freddie Potts is useless to me now because he's not in the team anymore. So, but Freddie Potts is a problem that I can just hide.
Yeah, but you're going to have to think about that probably in the run to 31, aren't you?
Yeah, eventually I have to solve the Potts problem. And then it's one of the defenders in Lacroix and O'Reilly. I've got money in the bank. So my original thought was to go and get Chalobah this week. I didn't want to buy him before West Ham, which proved to be the right decision. But my initial thought was either Lacroix or O'Reilly to Chalobah. And I may still do that this week. Wolves away is a better fixture than Liverpool away or Brighton away. So it could pay for itself in the first instance. Yeah, but that's all I'm thinking about at the moment. There's nothing more that's pressing.
So my team will change a little bit this week in terms of starter selectors. So Malik Chow will come into the team instead of Alderete for me. Alderete goes to Arsenal. Chow's got Brentford at home. As a consequence, I'm probably going to bench Thiago so I can stay on an all-in strategy this week and play Harry Wilson at home to Everton. Nico O'Reilly is kind of my problem at the moment, but it's not a huge problem. I obviously never intended to start him at Liverpool. He has played in midfield yesterday, as you acknowledged. I don't know if that sticks or not. It might have been something specific because I think Pep knew that Tottenham were going to play a back three. So he's on chopping block for me. I have 2 free transfers, 0.2 in the bank, but he's probably a kind of roll to 3, I think, for me, unless Chelsea turn it round against Arsenal. If Chelsea turn it round against Arsenal, I can see me jumping a few bits around where it might be that it goes, right, O'Reilly's going to go to an enabler. I might jump Thiago to Joao Pedro and then maybe even add Chalobah the following week, maybe, something like that. But if Arsenal go through, I'm not that fussed about getting any extra Chelsea, particularly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly that. So obviously Carabao Cup second legs are tomorrow and Wednesday, right?
And this week I do intend to captain Bruno Fernandes.
Ooh, fruity.
Well, not really. He's playing Tottenham, and I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, and you'll be there, but that just adds to the pain.
I will be at Old Trafford like I was at White Hart Lane yesterday with Haaland captain. Listen, it flies out of my head once that game starts. I'm obviously aware all the armbands on him, but I'm thinking way more about my team when that's going on. I think with Haaland going to Liverpool, I mean, if City go to Anfield and play like they played in the second half yesterday, they get mullered. And I think they probably won't be that bad, but I don't expect them to win at Liverpool at the weekend. And United are obviously on a bit of a run now. So I think Fernandes at home to, I mean, I don't know. Is Romero, Van der Ven, Danso, are they all unavailable? How have City not put us away yesterday? We'll come to that,
yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked, to be honest with you. But fair play. Cool. Let's talk about the games then, shall we? And like I said, there is Carabao Cup tomorrow and Wednesday. So if you can keep your powder dry and hold your nerve, then all the better. I haven't seen too many early price rises this week compared to previous
Really
weeks.
should be waiting until at least after that Arsenal-Chelsea game tomorrow night. And obviously, key message today as well is, I mean, I'm at home, and usually for me, in the living room, I've got Sky Sports News on the TV. I can see over my shoulder, so I'm keeping an eye on that. But bear in mind, obviously, we are recording in the morning. By the time you listen to this, there'll be
for Senora Frank. You still.
No, well, I don't suppose anyone's going to transfer Thomas Frank in, are they?
No. You're hoping for a Saki still.
Crystal Palace do look like they're transferring.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I know what you're talking about. It's the transfer deadline day, of course. Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Good.
And me and David will be
7
doing
7 p.m. today. So
content schedule. Let's do that first.
Oh, go on.
Transfer window show tomorrow. So me and David will be wrapping up all the kind of info of whatever happens today. We understand Larson has had a medical at Palace at the time of recording. Mateta is having a second part of a medical at AC Milan. It might need Mateta to go for Larson to come in, possibly. Wednesday, that show with Nico. The Weekender is on Thursday this week. That's because Clash of Correspondence is on Friday. That's Brighton against Crystal Palace with Sam Murray and Rory McLaughlin-Dowd. Palace, I know, very much out of form, but about to come in some very good fixtures. Brighton aren't exactly putting up trees at the moment either, as I'm sure we'll cover in a second. Also, deadline stream Friday night. It is a 6:30 p.m. UK time deadline. Leeds, Nottingham Forest is the Friday night football. You can support the show, www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. Plenty more going on there. Podcasts this week are Q&A today. We got Tottenham tomorrow. Ask James is on Patreon this Wednesday, 1 p.m. scheduled UK time. That's available from basic tier plus and above. Money in Football on Thursday. Me and Usage are going to be taking a deeper dive into the Deloitte Money League publishing. And we'll have our Game Week 25 preview, the differential show on Friday. Plenty more for advanced tier patrons as well, including Nico's Corner, What the Numbers Say. I'm going to have a bit of a dive into Elliot Anderson. That might be your pot solution, mate. He's absolutely blinding for DEFCONs, isn't he? Also got Team News Stream on Friday as well. Plenty more happening now. www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. If you want to check the full schedule out, it's in the bio.
Good. Yeah, you can sign up to Patreon, even as a free member, and get alerted whenever bits and pieces of content go.
You get
live.
the best bits for free if you sign up for a free member.
Good. Cool. Let's talk about Brighton 1, Everton 1, then kick off there with a late equaliser for Big Bad Beto, as our friend Clayton likes to
Big
call
Bad
him.
Birthday Boy Beto.
Yes.
Because it was his birthday on Saturday.
This is exactly the time last year when Clayton bought him and then he went on a little bit of a tear, didn't he?
Is it
Beto time? Do you think it's better time?
No, I don't think it's better time because I think Barry is a better forward and a better option, actually. Yeah, Bart for Bruggen, clean sheet, blowout. Also a blowout for those who own Jan Paul Van Heck as well. I don't suppose there's any much Brighton attacking options at the moment. Interesting line on them I've seen on our Slack this morning. Brian Gruder, we think, is going to Leipzig on loan, and Matt O'Reilly is returning from Marseille to replace him. We think they're both kind of straight loans. Gruder wants more football, building towards the World Cup. Disappointed from Brighton perspective. Really nice goal from Pascal Gross. But yeah, very late equaliser for Everton. What do we think about that David Moyes booking? It's like the whole football world is up in arms about that, aren't they? You're seeing this poor old man jump around the pitch by himself and he's got booked for it. Like, get a life, people, honestly.
Celebration police.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm never a fan of the celebration police. I think it's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, I don't think we're either really particularly looking at these two teams too much. And we'll get Sam's opinion on Brighton on COTC later this week. They haven't got the best run of fixtures. I'd say, I mean, them and Palace going to that game at the weekend. I think they're both on more than 10 without a win, or Brighton maybe 1 in 10. I think a victory against Burnley, that's about it. Neither in great runs. But Brighton, I think we'd have gone above Brighton if we won yesterday, I think. So, yeah, that's like, seems like quietly they've been on kind of an inconsistent run, a lot of draws in there. This another one. Yeah, shame for Bart for Bruggen. I'm not sure whether to play for Bruggen or Dubravka this week. That would be a close call, I think. My instinct's just to play for Bruggen because Palace are so out of form as well.
Yeah, I would play for Bruggen. You thinking Dubravka at home to West Ham?
Well, or for Bruggen at home to Palace. I think it's quite a close one, isn't it? If Burnley do well, you think most might 1-0 Burnley, wouldn't you?
Nah,
if they did do well.
If they did do well, but we've just scored 2 at Stamford Bridge. We scored 2 at your place. We scored 3 at home against Sunderland. Like, we're scoring goals now. If anything, if Burnley, I don't see Burnley keeping a clean sheet against us. I think we will score. If it was me, and look, potentially Mateta is also gone, Strand Larson, whether they just throw him straight in, even if they do, he hasn't been tearing up trees for Wolves, so he's not going to be, I would say, match fit or like match ready for a full solid 90. I'd go for Bruggen over Dubravka this week. Yeah, I think West Ham would almost guarantee us to score in that
Story
game.
for this obviously feels more like Everton. I mean, I say we're not really looking at them, but if Chelsea do turn it around against Arsenal tomorrow night, then we will be, I guess. Because Barry might be really interesting as kind of a third forward for people. Obviously, Dewsbury Hall back in the team is a really nice enabler. That's another potential fix to your Potts problem if you're saying you've got money in the bank. There'll be a few people gone on Illiman and Dyer. I think be pretty disappointed from the 2 games so far, but he'll obviously attract interest. And if they've got a double, you expect Tarkowski to do great on the DEFCONs, but he didn't hit them at the weekend. And what was really intriguing was that Everton did do something I suggested on the weekender that they might do. I didn't think they would, but they did do. Play 4 centre-backs.
Yeah.
So Brentford played left back. O'Brien obviously does regularly play right back, but he's a centre back by trade as well, which when Michael Keane went back in the team. Advice would be for people who've got Michael Keane, you need to hold on at the moment, seek a little bit more information, because we think Mikalenko had a little bit of a problem, so that might have influenced the decision. So we haven't got kind of full transparency yet on what's happening with the Everton defenders. I'd be very surprised if Tarkowski come out. And I guess if Chelsea won, there's arguably a bit of a decision to be made for me on, say, something like Tarkowski versus Chalobah.
Yeah.
Just because I know Chalobah will go to something else in 28, but I also know Tarkowski would go to something else in 31 on my current strategy. So I just need to think that through a little bit. Everton's fixture's not terrible. Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, United at home, Newcastle away, Burnley at home, and then it's Arsenal before a potential blanks. If they blanked in 31, it would probably be a definitive sell in 30, wouldn't it? So, yeah, no real interest in Everton unless Chelsea win tomorrow night.
For me, it's Dewsbury Hall. I'm not really looking at one of the defensive ones. They're just a little bit more expensive. I'd probably just jump to a Joachim Anderson or a Senesi and just leave it at that. Dewsbury Hall is definitely of interest. No one from Brighton particularly of interest for me at the moment at all. Let's talk about Leeds 0, Arsenal 4. Thank you very much for just at least pushing the goal difference a little bit towards our favour. It's still like 8 difference. 6-0 on the big chances. Leeds only 1 shot on target in the entire game, racking up an XG of 0.15. I think the story of this though is like the front 3 for Arsenal, right? You've ended up with Trossard, Havertz, Madueke, Gyökeres, who've been replaced in the game by Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus, Eze, and we're not even talking about Saka. And with that hodgepodge of talent and ability and availability, Gabriel, Timber, Rice, locked, easy. Thank you very much. Like, this Arsenal team's solid, but from a fantasy point of view, there is just so much potential of rotation up there because they've got so much firepower. I'm happy sitting here with Gabriel, Timber, and Rice. To be honest with you. Sorry,
Also,
James.
I mean, their best attacking threat is own goal, as we know. As we know, although Madueke, for those who didn't know, has now been awarded the goal from his corner, which Cole Darlow fumbled in. Yeah, look, this was a very comfortable afternoon for Arsenal. It was a very impressive result to go to Leeds and win 4-0. I think Leeds had only lost twice at home, I think, this season to Tottenham and Villa, I think. And have played some big teams in between. Liverpool, Chelsea,
Yeah,
Manchester
Chelsea
United,
and
a
stuff.
few
Yeah.
others, not been beaten by them. Newcastle, they drew at home too early this season. So that's really impressive from Arsenal to go. I'd said to you Friday, I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds got something actually. And they've gone there and won very convincingly, despite obviously losing Saka in the warm-up. Yeah, I've very much been kind of pro double defence for a long time. I'd be thinking more about treble defence than just single defence personally if Arsenal obviously get the victory tomorrow night, or obviously only need a draw to go through.
But is it worth moving Rice on to switch up to treble defence?
No, not at all. No. And I think with Declan Rice, what people probably need to be aware of if Arsenal do have the double in 26, and for anyone who's missed it, this is confirmed now information that if Arsenal go through, they'll double in 26, them and Wolves. If Chelsea go through instead, Chelsea and Everton will double. No, with Rice, I think what you got to think is the EO is going to be pretty big in the double. So anyone who's got a kind of say to Arsenal, maybe doesn't have an attacking one, is going to look at him, and he'll be obviously easier to get to than say Saka. And there might be a few people who've got Saka looking to hold, and a few are going, right, that's enough now, I want to move it on. If you're moving it on, if Arsenal go through, fucking hell, Sunderland at home and then double, don't necessarily overlook it. But I think his returns recently, Declan Rice, means that the favouritism for captaincy in 26, if they double, is going to be with Gabriel.
Absolutely.
Because since the 17-pointer at Bournemouth in game week 20, I know a number of people benched him, sorry, boss, he's had 10 points since, right? In 4 games. No DEFCONs, nothing. He has historically done quite well in away games, have not been there in the last 2 against Leeds and Nottingham Forest. I wouldn't run to him at the moment, personally. But he'll certainly fix a problem for people if they want a doubler in 26. Chances are, with the way the fixtures land, with Wigan sitting in between the 2 games, remember it's a Thursday night and a Wednesday night, there's no reason to think that a Declan Rice doesn't play Brentford and Wolves away, where ordinarily if it was a double and it was like Saturday, Tuesday, I'd even say to you, they might leave him out for one of the games, but he won't play against Wigan, I would presume, in the Cup. There's no reason to think he doesn't play the 2 league games. That appears to all the strong defensive guys as well, so Timber, you would think, would play both games. Obviously, Gabriel Saliba will play both games. I wouldn't, by the way, run from... I see a few people talking about going like a couple of transfers, Raya to Timber. Don't bother with that. So just leave it on Raya at this stage.
Thoughts on the third defensive then, if you were adding? Because let's say Gabriel and Timber are the 2 clear standouts. Would you go Saliba or would you go Raya?
I mean, for me, it's not going to be worth chopping it up to look at it unless Rice was injured.
I get it. But where you're saying people that are on 2 who are going to add a third.
I mean, if I'm on, think of it like this. If I'm on potential triple captaincy for Gabriel in 26 and Timber, I'm on effective 4 Arsenal defenders.
Correct.
For 2 games.
2 games, so you're
8 Arsenal defenders across the double game week, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Make it 10?
Yeah. It's mad that, isn't it? Well, 10. You could, yeah. I mean, for people who are just on the 1, I think you might understand that might be sort of what you're competing against from some other people. I'd probably Raya. And the benefit is, as I've discussed with you a couple of times recently with David, is obviously if Arsenal do double and then they blank 31, well, you can just hide Raya.
Yeah.
For the blank, can't you? So where I wildcard in now, I think I'd probably just go to... I'd probably go, I think, Raya, Gabriel, Rice. That's what I'd said on the weekend, where it's a wild card now, which is, by the way, is under no consideration. I'm certainly not going to move Rice about to put in a first defensive one. But I think the returns recently, like I said, I think a few weeks ago, it was like, oh, Rice or Gabriel or Saka captaincy. Be such a lean towards Gabriel. Saka, by the way, I don't think would fall into that equation of I'm certain he'll start both games. I don't think he does. And you have to say Madueke's done well at the weekend. I know there's been a lot recently about he hadn't scored yet in the league and stuff like that. But I think he took his opportunity well. goal and assist. It's effective 2 assists really in the game, isn't it? Forwards you can't look at the moment. The other note for Rice as well is we believe, I mean, there's rumours Arsenal might be busy today in trying to get something done because Mikel Merino's picked up quite a bad foot injury, we think.
But Havertz is back to kind of take his role, really. Midfielder, striker, hybrid player.
Havertz, not quite Rice role, I don't think. Because
Not
the beauty
Rice,
with
but
Rice is,
Marino.
in terms of like off the ball, if they want to go into like a 4-4-2, like they regularly do off the ball, obviously Rice then sits deeper alongside Zubimendi is natural. That would also have been natural for Marino. That's not quite right for Kai Havertz, I don't think.
I agree. It was more Havertz can replace Marino's role in a more attacking midfielder slash striker. Then if they got, what's the point in Christian Norgard if he can't fill that role for you for Rice? If you want him to sit a little
I
bit
don't
deeper,
think he wants. I don't think he wants to use him in big games.
I get that. He's that style player though. They have
quite
it's
often,
not like they're desperate to go and get somebody.
No, but quite often he's dropped Rice more into, like, particularly if they've been chasing the game, he's dropped, like, say, like last week against United, he's dropped Rice into Zubimendi's role and then, say, brought Eze into the team. So, yeah, I think Rice will largely be good for minutes. But his returns recently will certainly put a few off in terms of investing. So, if you're not on free though, if they double, you're getting to free. I think nearly everyone will.
Anything Leeds you'd add? Not really.
Bad day, but they won't be defined by what happens against Arsenal. I think probably the most notable thing from the weekend was Goodmanson, who Daniel Farke had said on Friday he had a small chance of being back, but was more likely the week after, straight back in the team at left wing back. That's obviously really dirt cheap. It's 3.8, I think, Goodmanson. And he'll certainly plug for a few people for like 31. Now that he's back and available and gone straight back in the team, that's a consideration for me. I said I might be looking for a defensive enabler, and that's thinking longer term about walking into the period of 31. We've also got Sunderland at home 29, Palace away 30 is not terrible. And he could be used in theory at home to Forest this week. I mean, if I bought him this week, would I play him over Malik Chow? Maybe I would.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly, yeah.
Close that. Well, Brentford are really good at defending set plays. I think they've conceded the fewest goals, I want to say, from corners, I think, in the Premier League. That was certainly a stat a couple of weeks ago. So I wouldn't expect Chow to be delivering me an attacking return at the weekend. So yeah, Goodmanson 3.8 should be on radar. I would think that him and Jayden Bogle retain the favouritism in terms of the wing-back positions. James Justin's moved into a right-sided centre-back position at the weekend. A couple of absentees there. Jakob Bijol, we think, will probably be back this weekend. So, yeah, Goodmanson on radar, potentially at 3.8. If you've got any leads this weekend, like Calvert-Lewin, you're going to be happy with the fixture like for the weekend. Then you might want to reassess afterwards, maybe.
Good. Okie dokie. Let's talk about Wolves 0, Bournemouth 2. I thought this was the one that might be the shock of the weekend because Wolves haven't been that bad. They've just not been able to add end product and get results really, but from a performance point of view, they haven't been getting too slapped up too much recently. I mean, 4 big chances and 17 shots in the game. They racked up a reasonable number of chances. And in the end, it's a late Alex Scott second goal that makes the scoreline look probably a little bit more comfortable for Bournemouth than it was on the day.
Yeah, that goal assisted by Rayan, who'd obviously came on as a substitute, new signing. Keep an eye on it. You've talked about this boy a bit.
Bigging him up a little bit in terms of a lot of people just will never even heard of him, James. He's just come out of the blue. Brazilian, right?
Well, neither had I till a month ago to have started looking at him a little bit.
19 years old.
I think Villa at home, Everton away is not like you need more information. Those next 2 games might give you that information. Then the run, West Ham, Sunderland, Brentford, Burnley, fixture in the blank. Yeah, game week 27 might want to have another little look at Bournemouth. So I think kind of seek information. If people want to go croupy now, as long as Bournemouth don't invest in this transfer window over the next few hours, then I think croupy looks fairly good to go now. If people, that's the clear best. As long as they don't buy today, the clear best third attacking option in terms of if you want it to be an enabling one. Andoni Iraola spoke after the game about trying to work on things to get Krupi and Evan Ilson into the team together. I do think that Evan Nilsson will still largely have favouritism because as much as Krupi catches the eye, Evan Nilsson's hold up and link up play is really good. I think he brings people into play well. So that's with Krupi, you don't want to be in isolated. So Krupi coming off and playing off of Evan Nilsson is really nice for him. He doesn't hesitate to shoot, does he?
No.
It's not the first goal he scored from distance either. He had the one against Arsenal recently.
He can finish. He's got a good shot on him.
Yeah, really good option for people looking for money. So Haaland to Krupi, I'm sure will be very popular this week. Not maybe. That's part of the problem we've been in Haaland, as we were talking a bit. Yeah, Krupi, as long as they don't buy today, I think he's now really good to go as a third attacking option if people want it. Definitely make the saving versus Evan Nilsson. Defensively, another DEFCON for James Hill. Being obviously very competitive here with Marcus Senesi. Same thing. Those two become really interesting for me today if they don't invest.
They don't buy.
I've just been really concerned that they might suddenly do something because I think they are still a bit like thin on the ground in terms of squad depth at the moment. So there's a few there to keep an eye on. I think GW24, have another look at them, and it might be kind of wait one more for 28, maybe Chelsea players back into Bournemouth in 28, maybe. For Wolves, if they double, it will gain some interest. My interest in it is absolutely none, to tell you the truth, because
me too.
As kind of just said, I think now it is beginning to look really good for Krupi versus Mane. It's worth noting Mane was top on the BPS for Wolves players at the weekend, right? He had a few chances created. He was very unlucky not to return. There's nothing wrong with him as an asset, by the way. I'd just still rather get Krupi than Mane might have a double. And remember, Mane is going to give you a headache if they double when you hit 31, similar to what you've got with Potts. It's like, he might suddenly becoming useless for me. That's not the player you want to hide on your bench in 31.
No.
Because you're probably going to want to be hiding some Arsenal players every chance, right? I've no interest in, Agbadu will be half decent for DEFCONs and stuff. No interest whatsoever.
Okie dokie. Let's talk about Chelsea 3, West Ham 2. Even at 2-0 at half-time, James, I didn't think we were going to win the game. Even though we'd played really well with that first half. Counter-attacking kind of control game, but threatening whenever we wanted to. We're finding a style of play that I think is working quite well. We found a team that I think is quite settled. We just have rubbish centre-backs and we shit the bed. As soon as any team applies any amount of pressure, we just sit in deep. Nuno gets defensive, takes off a striker, puts on another defender. What signal is that sending to anybody when we've been playing on the front foot for most of the game?
Can I defend that a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of West Ham fans very much are of the, Kilman's causing us problems. We'd even joke last week.
It's not Kilman. It's putting a defender on for a striker.
No, I know. But I think there was a bit of a narrative that putting Kilman on was changing the kind of the trajectory of the way the game was going. It was already going that way before he came on. Once Chelsea had scored, it was already moving in that direction. And you weren't retaining the ball in the same way at the top end. And I think he took a belief that whatever he did in the last 20 minutes or so, you were going to take a slap in. It was better to go with a back five to try and put up a better resistance. I understood it. The problem was then once it went 2-2, there wasn't really a way of recovering.
No.
And it was looked from there only likely that Chelsea would win. That said, I mean, the Todibo chance where he hits the post, man, you still could have won it. I would... If
we lost it on a 92nd minute.
Honestly, I would take so much positive from that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm taking all the positive from it. And I was having a chat with somebody in the office here this morning who's a Chelsea fan, and they were like, yeah, your players were behaving a bit bad. I was like, you know what? You're right. And it's not a good example to set for people. But I don't mind it because we're in the fucking relegation zone and we've just lost the game that we should be winning. If I see at least that level of fight that the players are ready to get stuck in and involved, I want to see that fight. And I know it's not a good role model or example to set where you see fight, but at least there's something about them that they're gonna get stuck in. But not only that,
you played some bloody good football.
Really good. Really good. And that's the third game in a row. All the Sunderland game was good. There was the first half against you guys was really good. First 60 odd minutes.
Do you know what I actually imagined at half time? Because you'd been that good in that first half, and we'll get onto how bad Chelsea were in a second. But you were that good. I imagined that there were 5 or 6 clubs in the Premier League who had a conversation at our time of your game, went, yeah, I know we weren't planning to do anything on Monday, but maybe we should. Because this team, obviously that would have been 3 wins in a row for you.
Yeah.
And it would have put you, 23 points from 24? And suddenly you're looking at it going, safety. Oh shit, how many points do we need to stay up? Oh fuck, this really might be a season where 40 points is going to be needed to stay up. And I think a little bit like we spoke about the panic about managers earlier in the season, because Sunderland, Leeds, obviously, and Burnley at the time had started really well, causing like quite a bit of panic down there. I think it might have even had a similar impact on the transfer window if you'd have ended up hanging on to that.
But the only impact I hope it had in the transfer window is us realising, well, now Tadibo's suspended for 3 games, that we need centre back, and if we don't get centre back coming into the team or the squad today, then I'll be very concerned.
I'm sure you will. I mean, yeah, Tadibo head loss in a sec. The big name that we've heard mentioned is Axel Disasi.
Even if it's low until the end of the year, I'll take it right now, because
I think that's reasonable, to be honest. I know he's kind of figure of fun for some people, but I think actually largely when he had his loan at Villa last year, I think he did quite well actually. So that would seem like a reasonable move for you in terms of the short term.
Yeah, the interest, like obviously Jared Bowen returns again when he's on a little bit of a roll. He is still 3rd highest scoring forward in the game. I think it definitely helps him having a couple of strikers that got work rate and energy in and around as well.
You know what else really helps him is the way Somerville's playing.
Yeah, because it takes the attention away from Bowen. There's another thing as well, James, and he's 4.1 million, and you will never ever get any clean sheets out of him. But he gets quite high up the pitch in Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I think Bowen Wan-Bissaka is a far better combination than Bowen and Kyle Walker-Peters. So
he's assisted both there, Wan-Bissaka.
He has, and don't get blinded by it. But also 4.1 million. Like, what are you going to do? Go to a Sunderland defender at 3.8 or 4 or whatever? It's all a bunch of toilet down there.
Yeah, but truthfully, if I'm buying now, I am looking at Reynaldo or Hill or Goodmanson would all get looked at before Wan-Bissaka.
I agree. But let's say like I ended up with Alderete, Brobby and Xhaka. You can't get another Sunderland player or for whatever reason. You're not likely to be put up on Bournemouth or whatever.
He's got a 7-pointer there at the weekend. That's his joint highest return this season.
Yeah, but then he's also missed a shitload of football this season as well. Been at AFCON.
I'm
not bigging him up.
He scored more of that from what he has played.
I'm not bigging him up, but I think there's just the price. Like, it's something that is one to keep an eye on. He does get further forward. Nothing else really of interest at West Ham at the moment, just because of the situation that we're in. Unless you feel like Somerville is now delivering enough end product to be worthy of a conversation at 5.5.
I think if people had wildcard 28 specifically in their mind, I think there will be a small amount of people considering that, because like Liverpool, Brentford, Fulham, a few others have a real good swing about there. You'll have more information in terms of the blank and potential doubles further down. 28 is a next little swing. We spoke about trying to hold transfers for that week to make a few moves there. If you were looking specifically to wildcard in 28, you're looking at Burnley away, Man United and Bournemouth at home over the next 3, would prefer Bowen over that period. But yeah, Somerville is little pocket dynamite, isn't he, actually? He's bang on it. 25 points across the last 3.
Yeah, he's really on it. And obviously he scored in the FA Cup game as well. But look, Chelsea do what Chelsea do, which is bring on £250 million worth of talent in Pedro, Cucurella, Fofana, Neto. Like, did any of those players cost less than 50 million? I don't even know if they did.
Do any of Chelsea's players cost? I'm sure their whole squad cost 50 million each player, except for Casado and Enzo.
Yeah, Fernandez. Chelsea. We made you so true, James. Fair. We had to change your whole team to beat us, Chelsea.
I mean, have you ever seen a triple substitution upgrade as big as that, actually?
I'm sure City will have done it sometime where they've probably brought on like a Haaland, De Bruyne and Foden at half-time in a game or something. But yeah, it's pretty monster. But they needed to, right? If they'd have left things the way they were, it wasn't going only one way.
Very, very clear.
Rafinha deserves credit here. Yeah.
If the first half had just continued, it was a matter of time.
It was a
matter of time before it went 3-0. Honestly, did Chelsea need that half time? And I think Rosenior made a decision, I think, because he was talking to like Cucurella and Joao Pedro before half time even came round. You could see it on the telly.
Yeah.
He made the decision he didn't want to take anyone off pre-45 because of what the psychological impact is on that for people and their confidence. Bloody hell, if it had gone on any longer, he would have had to, because particularly on their left-hand side, I mean, that combination of Hato and Garnacho was getting absolutely destroyed. So, and obviously Badiashile inside it as well. It was so bad. It was all over. Every time you attacked down that side, you thought, it's coming. And that's why Wan-Bissaka and Bowen both had some joy, obviously, during that half. Yeah, it was atrocious from Chelsea. In fact, I would go as far to say I would say probably fifth in terms of worst first half performances I've seen from a football team this season. And Tottenham would be all of the top four, by the way.
I think our first half against Chelsea earlier in the season when we were losing like 4-0 at half time, wasn't it, in that game? Probably has to rank up there, surely.
3-1, I think.
Oh, I can't remember, yeah.
Bakatar scored. You had a goal so marginally disallowed. I wouldn't put it quite up.
True.
Defensive
the second
shambles,
half was probably worse,
I wouldn't put it quite up there. Plus, it's relative to expectation, isn't it? Chelsea again, great run of fixtures. Let's start here. West Ham at home, aim for top 4, 5. Yeah. Whereas you're going, okay, if we can get something out of this game. So it's context to the two teams. You slaughtered them in that half. Credit to Rosenior for changing it. He said in his press conference on Friday, he said, I'll learn a lot from this game. Yeah, do you know what he learned? He learned that a lot of his backup players are not good enough. And that will be notable moving forward for FPL assets. More clarity, probably be a bit more helpful, actually, because he ain't going to run to be putting Hato and Garnacho back in the team again, even for fixtures like Wolves away this weekend. Nah, Cucurella will be back in the team. I imagine Neto came on for Gittins quite early in the first half.
That was an injury, though, wasn't it? So
yeah, but I think people forget if he hadn't got injured, I don't think it would have been 3 changes at half time. I think it would have been 4. I think he'd have made that change at half time as well anyway. So yeah, those guys who came into the team made a big difference.
So from a fantasy point of view, I'm sitting with Sanchez in goal. I'm fine with it, though he could have easily got himself sent off with his raised hands. But I guess if you wear gloves when you grab someone down the throat, it hurts a bit less, so it's all right. I'm happy with Sanchez, even though it doesn't fill me with the most joy, but they've got good fixtures. It's Wolves. For Enzo Fernandez, ticks along really well. I don't think you need to look much past beyond Fernandez. The flavour is now like Chalobah or Pedro, or flavour of the month for Chelsea's run of the fixtures, maybe. Those are the other two that I would look at.
Let's sell it a different way. If Chelsea doubled in 26 and you were free hitting, what 3 would you go?
Chalobah, Fernandes, and Pedro.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah,
that's the 3. Cucurella is an alternative to Chalobah, but I don't deem it worthwhile paying the extra. Chalobah will be more reliable for DEFCON. He's hit it again in this one. Caicedo will be okay, but I think find the extra for Enzo Fernandez. With Enzo, you'll get narratives with him, because I think what a lot of us have liked this year about fantasy is he arrives at the right time. I don't want to compare in terms of the players, but there is that kind of Lampard-esque nature to how he arrives into the box. That winning goal felt like it could have been Frank Lampard scoring that goal. He arrives at the right time into the penalty area. But I do think there might also be a narrative that builds with him, is that he's dropping a lot shorter to get on the ball as well, to help Chelsea with their progression. I saw that last week and I saw it again on Saturday, but he's not stopping him still arriving and wanting to get in the box. And actually, I find that when Palmer's on the pitch, Fernandes does it even more, because he knows that Palmer's delivery could be really good. Palmer is just not worth this money, guys.
Yeah. Him and Saka stick him in the same boat. Saka can't stay fit long enough or return, and neither Palmer. Agreed. Save the money for other stuff.
I mean, truthfully, in 26, let's say Chelsea double. Who'd you captain in 26?
If Chelsea double, who do I captain? Probably Enzo.
Yeah, great. I think.
Or Pedro. Probably Enzo. Yeah.
But if I said to you, Palmer, does that change it? Is it psychological? Do you think, captaincy, Palmer?
No, not for me right now.
No, agreed.
There's such a, you're talking about Enzo as well. There's such a plethora of midfielders that are in that 7 to 8 million bracket that are better assets than Palmer right now. Like Guimaraes, I know he's been a bit unfit. Morgan Rogers, Brian and Bumo. I'd rather have any of them over the premium. Can't forget Semenyo. I'd rather have any of them as an asset. You can have a midfield 5 of those assets, and you don't need to touch a Saka or a Palmer.
The other good little tip for people with Chelsea assets, if they do double and you're short, and 26 becomes your all right, okay, I've got to have 3 for 26. It might sound weird, but wait until after 25 might be helpful. Because remember, they play Wolves Saturday and they play Leeds Tuesday. So if you did have something like, I don't know, hypothetically, Enzo was left out against Wolves, you'd feel so comfortable he was going to start against Leeds. Then it's FA Cup. Then he would start at Everton under that circumstance. So waiting a week might not be the worst thing. It might give you a bit more information, but I really think he's going to start against Leeds. Then maybe I'll take the Everton game as a bonus. Maybe if you're struggling for money a bit more defensively or something like that. What I'm saying, there might be a situation where we go, shit, it really looks like Reece James, for example. Maybe if he didn't start at Wolves, you go, oh, wow, I really think Reece James is going to start against Leeds and Everton. That if he didn't start at the weekend, you'd think that would be the circumstance. The problem with Reece James would be, I think he probably does start at Wolves. Then you're going to be concerned about the Leeds game, maybe. Reece James would be an alternative, but I think Chalobah's been so solid on the DEFCONs recently, I wouldn't consider it. Joao Pedro, it's in form, isn't it? I don't know if anyone wants to go there. You got my blessing. He's obviously played a little bit of a deeper role at the weekend because Liam Delap did stay on. You wouldn't consider Delap at this moment. Delap is probably going to eat some of Joao Pedro's minutes. But as seen at the weekend, he doesn't necessarily need the whole game, does he? He had a great impact on the game.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Liverpool 4.
That incident at the end.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah. First, the thing is...
I promise you, I was laughing for 10 minutes. It was so good.
I thought the highlight of it was Cucurella just getting launched. I was like, I thought firstly Traore was going to get red carded for what he did to Cucurella because I thought he'd thrown him by his hair. And do you know my initial reaction? Forgive me, listeners. You're going to hate me. But I was like, I bet there's a lot of Premier League players that wish that they were the ones that had fucking launched Cucurella like that.
Do you know what it's like? You know when like a wrestler throws someone through the ropes?
Just launched him. And then I was like, all right, okay. And then Pedro comes in, and then Todibo just comes steaming in. How I thought Traore could have got himself sent off as well for the way he launched Cucurella. But yeah.
I can't. Joao Pedro must have had the scariest 20 seconds or so of his life. When Traore turned around, like I said earlier, he looked like the Hulk was coming for him. And you can see Joao Pedro takes like a step back. And he kind of half guards his arms in front of him. Then he runs away. He's getting out the way. Someone else comes towards Traore. Then Todibo comes out of nowhere. He's gone as well. You can see in his eyes. I don't know if Joao Pedro looked at Todibo and thought, well, this is the better of the two evils. I'll take this one, maybe.
It was...
But it was... I don't condone it. It was a loss of heads moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't condone it, but at least there's some fight there, which has been missing so much this season. We're going to look back at this for West Ham later in the season and be like, the number of post 85th minute goals that have lost us points would have had us almost mid-table, but let's see. Right, Liverpool 4, Newcastle 1. 1-0 up, 4-1 down. I don't know what the rest of that song is, but...
2-0 up, 3-2 down.
Yeah. Do it whichever way you want. Anthony Gordon does a goal, though.
I know. Wow, we should footnote
done.
We were getting to the stage where it was going to be like the old Almiron Armageddon moment if it actually happened. He takes the goal really well. He was lively as Anthony Gordon. Obviously, he played through the middle essentially as the
no striker,
central striker, which was a surprise. I don't think that's something we can expect to see regularly moving forward. But Newcastle obviously had a big week in terms of Villa, PSG, Liverpool all inside a week. So that's not something that's going to stick. They played really well, pretty much to the goal, Newcastle. When they scored, I don't think there could be an argument. They deserved their lead, actually. And goals change football matches. And Liverpool got one brilliant little play from Florian.
Wirtz. In quite quick succession.
Ekitike is there. The problem is then, though, when you concede like that, in that moment, sort of like 10 minutes till half time, right, they've got level. The priority at that point in time has got to be don't go in behind. And Newcastle just left themselves a little bit too open to Ekitike on that second goal. But wow, what a finish. What a finish. It's almost a little bit Romario-esque, the toe poke, and he takes it so quickly. Pope's got no chance. I don't think Pope even knows the shot is happening when he has the shot. Brilliant, brilliant goal. He's a great player, Ekitike.
Yeah.
I don't think he might be because of Isak, but I think you get to this stage of the season, you ask yourself with assets and you go, this price I'm paying for this boy, would I be paying this price this time next year? And I don't think I will be.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if he has a run to the end of this season, he's sort of 10 million bracket this time next year.
Well, what was Ollie Watkins' start of this season? 9.5, was he? He wasn't 10. It was 9 or 9.5. Ollie Watkins was. I think he'll come in the same price as Watkins did last year.
But because
Watkins
of
had a great run.
Palmer, Saka, etc., potentially with the pricing and Salah, you're going to have some awkwardness with pricing next year. Mm. Would they leave Isak at the same if he barely plays? Could you have a situation where Isak and Ekitike are, say, both 10 million next season? I don't know. But he's really good, Hugo Ekitike. I think he's been a shining light for Liverpool all through the season. Him and Szoboszlai have been pretty consistent throughout. Note for Szoboszlai as well, in the bonus, in a 4-1 victory, despite no attacking return.
Yeah.
Hit DEFCON, played right back. I don't mind him there. I just think Liverpool ideally would rather have him further up the pitch. They've agreed a deal for, is it Xhaka at Rennes? 50 million centre-back, but he's not going to join until the summer.
Right.
But he's getting all kind of signed, sealed, done today. So Rennes have allowed that to happen, and Liverpool have gone a foot up over others and agreed to that so that he can stay with Rennes for the rest of it. He's not being loaned back. They're just doing everything today. The medical, the lot, getting it signed, and it'll be like, June 30th, July 1st.
Pointless medical, isn't it? You could get injured in the next...
but medicals aren't really injury stuff in most scenarios. It's more like how's your heart rate and stuff like, and your joints and stuff like that. Whereas take someone like Mateta, there's obviously been quite a bit of speculation he's got a knee problem. Milan obviously will be checking that fairly thoroughly, but most medicals are more just like health stuff. Is there anything irregular with a heartbeat or lungs or something?
You have
like
a Tottenham in your heart, maybe.
Yes, like Mo Kudos. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shout out for Konate. That was a nice moment at the end. Obviously, you can see he was crying when he scored. Obviously, recently lost his father, back in the team, and I thought actually performed really well. Actually, him and Van Dijk as the game went on became quite solid for Liverpool. So yeah, good result for Liverpool. Wasn't quite a 4-1 game. I think for half hour they were pretty ordinary, but momentum changes games. You've seen a lot of that this weekend. In so many games, Chelsea's first goal against yourselves, Liverpool's first goal against Newcastle, our first goal against Manchester City, Fulham at Old Trafford yesterday. So many games where there's been an advantage and the goal just swings the momentum in the game. Not running to Liverpool assets. However, my strength of belief in Ekitike is I wouldn't rule him out from captaincy this week.
Okay.
On what I saw at City yesterday, because I think they get beat at Liverpool. He definitely plays, no doubt about that. I highly likely will go Fernandes against Tottenham, but I don't mind Ekitike. I mean this honestly. I would rather captain Ekitike than Haaland, I think, at this moment, this weekend.
Okay.
I'm not. People will want to look at him now. The thing is as well, if he does well this weekend, it's like understanding the narrative of what might happen afterwards. If he does well this weekend, the run at exactly that. But the run isn't bad with Manchester City at home this weekend because they're dreadful on the road.
Yep.
So I like him this weekend. And I think Florian Wirtz now is beginning to show some real consistency, actually. He looks like he's adjusting. That's his fourth double-digit return in the last 6. If you go back to his, I think his first attacking return, I want to say, was the win at Tottenham in game week 17. If you include that, his returns since have been 8-10, 3-10, 3-10, 2-12.
Decent.
Yeah, 8.3. I want some real consideration now, and I think you might land on a scenario where, let's say Arsenal double, 26, and you look afterwards and you go, I wonder if I can jump that from Rice to Wirtz. I wonder if that sort of move might become something that's just quite popular once we hit sort of 27 period. Liverpool's 28-30 is disgusting. West Ham at home, Wolves away, Tottenham at home. And that was one big reason for me also to keep faith in Ekitike.
Yeah.
Newcastle, decent fixture this weekend at home to Brentford, but then there's trips to Tottenham and Manchester City. The away record is not good, as very well documented. I don't really have any interest in them. I don't see any reason why anyone would invest in them at the moment. I think likes of Malik Chow as a hold is fine. There'll be people on Lewis Miley and stuff. And I guess if you are on a Gordon or something like that, or Voltemade or Visser still, you want information heading into the game at the weekend, and you probably want to hold for Brentford at home. But I think you're probably beginning to look away from Newcastle, I think.
Yep.
And obviously they've got these playoff games with Carabao coming. So that's a note as well for game week 27, if you've not noted. I don't know if it's officially been moved yet, but Man City Newcastle on the game week 27 will be moved to an 8 o'clock from a 12:30. That's because Newcastle play in Azerbaijan against Carabao Cup on the Wednesday before. And the second leg is the Tuesday afterwards. Yeah, I don't intend to take Holland on that week.
Yep. Oh, I agree with you fully. Carabagshop.co.uk if you need carrier bags. And we do not do them with the Carabao Football Club logo on them, but we will one day.
But you could do, couldn't you? If someone wanted to get like the Carabao logo printed on some packaging, you could do it, couldn't you?
I recommend you all speak to James about the difference on screen printing and flexo printing, because that was the good old days, James. Which,
mate.
It's like 8-9 years ago. 8 or 9 years ago, a long time ago.
Yeah, I can.
yeah. People need to look back at the origins story for that one. Let's talk about Aston Villa 0, Brentford 1. Villa will be disappointed not to come away with anything from this, with the number of chances. 27 shots in the game in the end. They racked up a very healthy XG, considering 2.4, considering there's no penalty in there as well. But you did say it before that you thought this could be a stumbling block. It shouldn't have been, though, because they did create. It wasn't like they didn't create anything. They just didn't get the results of their endeavour.
Yeah, I said to you on the differential show on Friday, I said, like, the sensible thing here today is I think Villa will win. But I said to you, I nearly tipped Brentford up to win. I just had a real vibe that it was one too many carryover from the injuries. They had an awkward night against Salzburg that had become more important than it should have been. Things like Onana having to play significant minutes and stuff. And I just had a vibe of a feeling that Villa might have a difficult day on Sunday, and obviously Ollie Watkins' injury as well didn't help. Abraham really unlucky not to score, right? It's not his fault that the ball 100 yards away goes out of play. It is the right call ultimately. It's one phase of attack and the ball did go out of play. So shitty one though. You'd hope someone would see that at the time, but I get Buendia was sitting on the floor. It was an awkward one probably for the linesman to see from 40 yards away to actually give the decision. But it looked out, I think, to everybody when you saw it. You could tell the reaction of the Brentford players when I was watching it back last night. I was like, yeah, they all know that this has gone out of play. So Abraham a bit unlucky. On Watkins, we think it's not a significant issue. And actually, had the game maybe even sort of been played, say, tonight or tomorrow night, maybe he might have even been able to play. So we do think as it stands, he'll be back available this weekend. If you own him, Bournemouth, Brighton, Leeds, Wolves, he's a decent little run, and they've got a great fixture in 31 as well. So I'd probably advise don't do anything rash with that with Ollie Watkins. You probably want to hold. Those of us who got Morgan Rogers are not running away from that. Clearly not. Defensively, the problem with them is because they're never at DEFCONs and stuff, if they concede, you are looking at 2 1-pointers most of the time. Yep, bad day at the office. I know the Villa guys thought Douglas Luiz played really well. He's worth noting. He's obviously rejoined the club. He was actually only just outside the bonus yesterday. He's 4.9. And we would assume, considering the problems they've had with penalties, that he'll go back on the pens. The Villa guys are kind of saying, obviously, Onana didn't start yesterday, but probably expect Douglas Luiz to keep playing. You would think it's probably going to be a Douglas Luiz-Onana relationship building forward. You'll want to note, obviously, further down the line, the Thursday-Sunday problem, but that doesn't build up again till, obviously, after game week 29.
Mm-hmm.
They obviously will play in Europe on the Thursday night, although that's at home, before the blanking 31 when they play West Ham. That game will be on a Sunday afternoon. So you might, therefore, with what you want with Villa later on, might want to leave that decision quite late. But actually, this problem doesn't exist for a few weeks. And despite the fact I thought they might have trouble at the weekend and the fact that they've lost and they've got injury issues, I wouldn't be running from assets. And Douglas Luiz wants a real close look at 4.9. And if people still want to invest in Rodgers, I'm not going to put them off. Don't invest in Abraham. On the eye, that looks good. 6 million playing up front for third best team in the league this season. But we think that Watkins is probably okay. Great result for Brentford. Stupidness from Kevin Sade. He'll miss 2 league games, which aren't good ones to miss. Newcastle away and Arsenal at home. Ironically, then, from 27, they come into a really good run of fixtures. And he'll be back available for that with next to no ownership again. Similar to he came back from a suspension for Leeds at home. And you might remember tore it up. I had to sell him, didn't I? Because he was on 5 yellows. Pain in the rear, actually. Was it against Bournemouth? Bournemouth, wasn't it? He missed the Leeds game of suspension. Sorry. He got the hat-trick, didn't he, against Bournemouth? 20-pointer in game week 18 after he'd come back. If you can hide that, if you're on Kevin Sade and you can hide that for a couple of weeks, I'd be quite tempted to do that.
Okay. It's still quite pricey, 7 plus, isn't it?
It is, but as differentials go, he's going to walk straight back in some good fixtures, and I would expect him to come straight back in the team. He's daft as hell for the red card, although if you are going to get sent off for giving someone a shitty tap, at least do it in the nuts, which I suppose he did, and there's a few of us who don't like Matty Cash that much, so fair dues. Utara will get some minutes now as a consequence and has obviously scored. Dango is much cheaper, is 5.8. But if you don't own Utara, and I suspect nearly everybody listening to this will not, you're not going to look at him, I don't think, till the same period in 27. Keep an eye on those 2 players. Thiago, if Chelsea hit the double, I might dip off him to Joao Pedro. But I'm pretty sure I will want to dip back for that same run. Brighton at home, Burnley away, Bournemouth away, Wolves at home, Leeds away in the blank. And if you're running through, it's Everton at home on the other side as well. So some really good fixtures for Brentford. Thiago I wouldn't want to get rid of. It feels like the main fantasy story from the weekend was that Nathan Collins didn't start. Now that's a big shock. So that, to my knowledge, is the first time he's been left out this season. So Vandenberg came back in as a substitute against Forest. Aguirre came off. Now this time Aguirre and Vandenberg have played together. Collins, I think, was going to be a real go-to for people around about 27, 28 as good centre-back playing for a decent side. He's a goal threat. He's good for DEFCONs. But what does that mean now?
Well, he came off the bench. So was it just rotation? Or
yeah, but he's come off the bench because obviously they went down to 10 men so early. They've obviously gone 5-3-1 basically to shut the game down, and they've performed heroically well defensively. So he was always going to come on under that circumstance. The question would have to be, well, why did he not start?
Rotation, rested.
Well, is it rest? But rest from what?
Yeah, it's a fair point. It's not like they're playing European fixtures and have had them stacked. Yeah.
What I'm saying is next week, there's obviously midweek fixtures and obviously a weekend fixture, although Brentford have a good gap because they don't play Arsenal until the Thursday in game week 26. That's all. That's what the Brentford guys are saying to us basically is we think it's a rest, but I'm a little perplexed as to why. So I think that wants monitoring the next couple of weeks. Obviously, if he's back in the team at Newcastle, there's nothing to worry about. And I would guess most Collins owners probably weren't intending to start him this week, so do not panic about it. Brentford will be really interesting again, 27. Yeah. Great result for them.
Let's talk about Manchester United 3, Fulham 2. Our friend who needs to get his hair cut. Bloody hell, he must be loving Benjamin Sesko if he finally does get to do it. And that's after they play you and then they play us.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they don't do it in the next 2, he's never going to do it, is he?
No, it's not going to happen. At this point, I think I would give up if I was him, really.
Are we sure he hasn't just cut his hair and just gone, I've had enough?
He hasn't.
Are we sure?
I saw a video of it yesterday. He was 3 hams away from a haircut. Fulham, Tottenham, West Ham. Yeah, the first ham he has eaten. So now it's down to 2 more hams to go. He hasn't cut his hair yet, James. But
I mean,
Fulham gave him a game and a half here
They should
in
do
terms of
it.
chances and what have you. So yeah, they'll beat you and shit the bed against us.
Yeah,
Game
Fulham
and a half.
are a tough team to play against, and that's why I think I saw Tom Cantwell, who got the assist, said me and him were the only two in the content creators who didn't captain Haaland.
Right.
Fernandes, sorry. We both captained Haaland.
Well, and to be honest, it was
I
the
was
right decision
surprised
to
about that.
captain Bruno Fernandes because
Well, the returns, yeah.
yeah. Am
But
I not in this content creators league then? So I
I don't know.
captain
I don't know
Haaland.
if anyone considers you a content creator or not, mate.
Who's in charge of this content creators league? And send me their address because I'm going to send my mate Adama Traore around
It's
to their
also
house to
possible.
sort them
It
out.
could. It could be that Tom only looked at page one of the league.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh,
Yeah,
by the
quite
way,
good.
I didn't check any of those stats, so I'm relying on Tom for that. It's just something I saw
Yeah,
him
no,
put
but I
on
know,
Blue
I know, I
Sky.
know quite a lot of people did. Like even I watched the your game with my little mate who's a Tottenham fan. He's only 8. He captained Bruno Fernandes, and I know quite a lot that did captain Bruno Fernandes. I'm going to have a cheeky look in the old correspondence league as well while you talk about this game and see how many there
They're all
did.
sheep. If I didn't do it, most of them won't have done it, probably.
Yeah, go on. United did get the 3 points, but lucky. But maybe
Point being
this.
is, yeah, for me, Fulham, yeah, it doesn't feel great from that perspective. Look, Fernandes, so many routes to points. There's no criticism. I was clear to people in the build up to the deadline. Anyone wants to go for it as my blessing, crack on. The warning was that's Tottenham. I mean, the assist for the winning goal is such a clever bit of play. He's done Basiol, ends up with the dummy, put the cross in the only way he can. Really well finished from Sesko. Lovely little finish for Casemiro. That obviously could have been a penalty, but they've got to the right decision. I'm not really sure what Marco Silva was moaning about that after the game because I mean on that one ultimately have made the right decision. He was saying it was going on about some faffle about they judged it on the tackle and rather than the pull, but it's a clear pull, so the right decision was a free kick. That's what it was. They scored from it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll captain Fernandes this week against my team.
Yep.
This week feels much better to do it, and I think this week you're clearly going to get two players over the 100% EO. So whichever one between Fernandes and Haaland you don't go for, if the other one does well, it's going to buy it. If
Yep.
Haaland's EO was sort of touching sort of 100, 101, depending on where your rank was this week, it's got to be higher next week with Haaland going to Liverpool, surely. So yeah, I think that's enough for me. I'll go Fernandes captaincy most likely. I would love to have got Boomo like you did, Serge. Just doesn't really work for me actually. Keep faith with that. The only thing is, I've seen a few of the United guys say that hold fire. He might have. I didn't watch the game yesterday. He might have had a little problem when he came off. Maybe so
It
seek
was in the
some
90th
information on
minute. It
that.
was right at the end. So
Just say he didn't look quite right when he came off. Cunha, really good. If people want to go there as well, you've got my blessing. Casemiro, the thing with Casemiro is when he scores, he's a little bit like Fernandes. He will be in and around the bonus. Obviously, he scored and assisted
and
here.
assisted this time
The
around. Yeah.
assist is great. Cheeky little bastard. He does the no look, doesn't he? It's a really lovely piece of
Yeah.
play. I don't mind him if people are looking for a neighbour because the one beauty with United, obviously, as well, is one game a week. You don't have to worry about the rotation here or nothing like that. You would think he's going to play nearly every game. Nice 13-pointer yesterday. He ticks over really nicely for DEFCON. 5.5 million. You'll do worse than that, I think. Wouldn't want to look defensively, and I think you've seen why again yesterday. Not interested.
Yeah.
Not interested in that defensively at all. Fulham been on a great run, haven't they? Well, I think it was 17 points from their 8 previous going into the game yesterday.
They were 7th in the table. They're 8th now. They've just been leapfrogged by Brentford, but still, like, decent.
Brilliant effort to get that back to 2-2, and they'll be absolutely sick that they've obviously not ended up getting anything out of the game. Everton at home this weekend. There was a note that, as we've said many times, Everton's away record is not too bad in the league. They've got another point on the road at the weekend, albeit very late. After they go to City and Sunderland, though, those fixtures are another one, 28 to 31. I mean, blimey. Tottenham, West Ham, Burnley, all at home, and a trip to Forest in 30. So, Harry Wilson, I intend to play this week against Everton. and probably hide for the City Sunderland away games, and then he's still sitting there for me. I've got too much value in him, having bought at 5.2 to be considering cutting that off. I don't think those that don't own should run to it, but I think those who are on the Enzo Fernandes path will naturally look at him in 28 when Chelsea go to Arsenal and Fulham come into that run that I've just said. Jockey Manderson will remain of very serious interest to me. Really good for the DEFCONs. They can keep the odd clean sheet. They don't keep as many as they'd like to. He yesterday only got 2 DEFCONs. What's happened now?
Don't know.
What's happened there yesterday? One of our patrons needs to let me know what's happened now. 2 DEFCONs. That's so low, but he's normally quite good for them. And he's absolutely fine. I think it's 4.6 Anderson. There's no point considering the Fulham alternative defensively, as discussed brilliantly. Great moment for Kevin, particularly when we lost poor Kevin's mum from Home Alone over the last week. Felt very ironic when he scored. Super goal. Raul Jimenez will tick over fine if you've got, but yeah, Fulham is another one. Ring for game week 28. United, if you want to invest, guys, you got my blessing. And as you said, double ham coming up. There's not really a reason not to.
All right, let's talk about Forest 1, Palace 1. I haven't seen much of this. You might have caught a few of the highlights, James, but ultimately, obviously, Nico Williams has got himself...
Save of the season, mate. What's a save?
Got himself sent off here. I'm going to read you a list of names, James, and you're going to tell me if you've ever heard of any of these players before. And I think it might only be one that you might say. Christian Uche, you have heard of him.
Yeah.
Remy Matthews.
I've heard of all of these, Suj, because I watched Palace in the Conference League against Cups.
Oh, okay.
You're asking the wrong guy.
I looked down this bench. Walter Benitez.
Didn't have
Nathaniel Klein.
3 keepers on the bench or something, didn't they?
Jaden Canavet, 2 goalkeepers.
JD Cambo.
We
started last week.
Is a goalkeeper. Caden Rodney. He's only used one of his substitutes. You've now lost Mateta potentially as well. I'm so fearful for Palace that it's just going to become like a snowball effect of let's pick up 1 or 2 injuries. And the morale's going to be so low there. Like, Lacroix didn't get a DEFCON. He ended up 8 DEFCONs, so he didn't get the DEFCON points. I know their fixtures are starting to look good, but there's just something not quite right here. The last day, they mentioned transfer window today, right? Let's say, like, okay, Arsenal are looking for a replacement for Declan Rice. They think, fuck it, 60 million, 70 million, let's go and pay the money for Wharton.
Keep going. It'll cost more than that.
But whatever. Let's say someone buys him today. Then, like, I'm fearful for Palace, and I have been for a few
Crystal
weeks.
Palace sell Adam Wharton today, Oliver Glasner won't be manager tomorrow.
Then it's the snowball effect of then, like, Mateta's gone, and it's hard with that momentum. But yeah, look, tell me about this game. I don't want any of these players from any of these teams from a fantasy point of view. You're
no,
but
sell me
any of them. Other than Elliot Anderson, 17 DEFCONs is tidy, but yeah.
Well, it's not just the 17 DEFCONs, is it? It's top bonus, mate.
Bonus, 3 BPS, yeah.
That's brilliant. 8-point no return, essentially, in old FPL. So, or 7-point return. Did he get booked? Did he? Maybe. I mean, that's
yellow card,
brilliant.
Possibly, yeah.
Look at his returns going. But as I said, I'm going to do a piece for him for the advanced tier patrons this week. What the numbers say, but yeah, if anyone wants Elliot Anderson at 5.3, yeah, listen, he's. You know how I feel about him though. I wonder. Spoiled something I was going to say. I wonder if there's a psychological with him. People don't want to bench him. Don't want to play him. Don't want to bench him. No, I don't want to look at his points on the bench every week. But he's perfect as 7th or 8th man, isn't he? But there's nothing wrong with playing him every week. But I don't know if it's still in people's psyche, like, it's a bit shit to play every week. It's not though, is it? When you look at his returns, it's brilliant. Yeah. You know when the last week was, he scored less than 3.
I'm going to say game week 15.
14.
Oof, close.
It's 1 week since game week 9, he scored less than 2.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which was Wolves away, by the way, if anyone was interested to know. And I want to say that's a fixture Forest have got coming up soon. Yes, game week 26, they're at home to Wolves. Yeah, decent couple, Leeds away, Wolves. I mean, I don't think you're investing in Forest. Probably the only real line of note here for Forest is, I mean, they've done really well to get the point out of this with 10 men. Early goal from Gibbs White. Gibbs White's on a decent little run at the moment. He's got 3 goals and assists in the last 5, but I'm not paying 7.3 for that. Sorry, that's That's no chance. But Anderson, 2 million cheaper. Don't think so. Jesus comes under a bit of threat from Luca, who's joined them now on loan from Lazio. Probably the notable one here. I don't know if you want to just check his price. I think he's 4.5. So just check Ortega. Because Matt Sells obviously went off injured at half time yesterday. Angus Gunn has gone in goal and he's not great. The good news for Forest is he never had to make a save in the second half. Angus Gunn will not stay in goal. If Sells has a problem, Ortega will go in goal. But I want to say he's 4.5, Suj.
Ortega's still listed on the Man City, I think.
Is he? He's definitely... he joined Forest yesterday.
Ortega's still listed on the Man City. He's 4.7, James.
Yeah, too much. Not interested. It was just if maybe drop to sort of 4.3 range or something. No. But anyway, if Sells isn't available, Ortega will play in goal for Forest at Leeds Friday night. Fairly certain of that. It won't be Angus Gunn. But that statistic there, I said that Gunn didn't have to make a save, is fairly damning on Palace, isn't it? Having played 10 men against Forest, and you get that kind of double whammy. We've spoken this weekend about goals changing momentum of games. You get a penalty and the opponent has a player sent off in the same moment. What a swing to a football match. We should note Ismail Assar on penalties.
Yep.
That's interesting. He's another interesting midfielder moving forward. I think he would have been the most interesting Palace attacker anyway. If he's on pens, interesting. I would think, however, that if Larson goes in, he'll take them. Larson, I want to say 6.1, Suj, I think.
I can check for you.
I personally wouldn't be chasing after that, but I would expect him to go straight in the team, by the way.
Strand, Larson.
Next three are Brighton away, Burnley at home, Wolves at home. Should Palace...
Yeah, 6.1.
Should Palace take 0 points from those 3 games, then yes, they're in a shit themselves situation of 29 points from 27. Then yes, shit yourselves. But we mentioned this last week that if Palace won those 2 games against Burnley at home and Wolves at home, it'd be on a minimum of 34 points from 27. That would now be 35 points from 27. Like, as long as they achieve something like that, there's nothing to worry about. Right. And they go to Brighton this weekend. That's our COTC game this week. You know they'll be up for it. It's a long-running joke that how difficult Brighton find it to beat Crystal Palace. It's probably the sort of fixture that suits Palace. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a decent result at Brighton at the weekend. I'm not too concerned about them in terms of looking over their shoulder. If the next 3 go badly and then they're going to Manchester United in 28 and they're on 29, 30, 31 points, okay, let's have a conversation subject to what West Ham do between now and then as well. Lacroix said you should hold.
Yeah, I mean, if it's O'Reilly or Lacroix, I'm holding Lacroix.
Yeah, even if it's just for the next few, hold on to that, mate. Honestly, that's the right play, I think, at this moment in time. Because Burnley Wolves at home, I mean, there is a possibility of hold. If I told you now you were going to start him and he scored 15 or 17 in one of them 2 games, you'd hold him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's a possibility. I know it's kind of underwhelmed, particularly in terms of attacking stuff, and they've underwhelmed recently. It does feel like the kind of momentum shift that there might have been for Daniel Munoz doesn't feel like it's there at the moment because of this run. And also, you can save if you did want to invest in them, you can save mountains with Chris Richards, can't you? It's like, is Munoz at this moment, without their playing, really worth all that more on top of Munoz? I'm not sure that it is at this moment, because I feel like it's not something you want to play every week at this moment, I don't think. So Sarr may be interesting. Munoz, Richards may be short-term look at as well, but it could just be short-term stuff. But I would urge those who've got Palace stuff to hold on at the moment. And Larson, at that sort of price, if he's on pens, will need monitoring. Think as well, just logically, Mateta misses so many chances.
Yeah.
Larson's conversion rate in the Premier League last year was basically best in the league, I think, in terms of his goals to shot ratio. Obviously, it's not been that this year, but that might be part why they've looked at him and gone, well, we do create chances for Mateta. But I also think a lot of them chances come from Mateta as in terms of playing him in behind and him using his kind of pace and strength to get away from it. Larson's not that sort of player. It's more creating from in and around the box. Yeah, they're probably a void for many. I don't think you're looking at Forest at the moment either.
All right. Last but not least, Spurs 2, City 2. Fun game. Like, I mean, a bonkers game, to be honest with you, in that I would summarise it as, first half, you offered nothing. There wasn't, even when you had the ball in the final third, I didn't ever think that you had any level of threat that was going to actually hurt them. It looked so tepid and slow. They, on the other hand, Cherky was lively, Semenyo was lively, Haaland was not his best, but still he's a handful, isn't he? Because he's just so big. 2-0 at half time, just thinking that this has got to be the easiest seeing out a victory ever. I don't know what happened to that. Like, and all credit to Spurs for that second half. I would add the caveat from a fantasy point of view. As good as you were with Solanke and whatever, still don't want any of your players. I think you take it in complete isolation and say, right, okay, we did really well, great result. Yes, cool. Let's not forget the actual bigger picture here, where now you've got no centre backs. Dominic Solanke's 7.1, 7.2. I wouldn't even risk that with him picking up another knock at any point with Joao Pedro.
He might have one from yesterday because he's got off injured.
Yeah. Credit to the scorpion kick, which I'm going to give 30% as just let me see what happens, as opposed to fully intended execution of it. It's one of those where it's like, take all the credit from it. Don't use it to build a narrative of what the future looks like off the back of that half of football, because underlying there is still significant issues there for Spurs. And I think the same for City. It's like, it's not the first time that we've seen them. From them, I think you can see a little bit of a narrative where if they sit in, you can get at this City side.
Without any doubt. Yeah, without any doubt in terms of getting at Manchester City. I think the media's kind of pursued this. Tottenham fans want their team to lose this weekend more than was actually reality.
Yeah, it's
and I
not
also
reality.
think there's a lot of kind of online baiting between obviously Tottenham Arsenal fans and stuff like that. Let me tell you, that atmosphere in the stadium in the second half, it's like when Odebear had that chance when Simmons won it back and put it across, it felt like 60,000 people were trying to suck the ball in the goal. It was the most electric that stadium had been all season. So, I mean, City, for context, right, in terms of like away points this season, they're running at the same ratio as Everton. I know we said Everton's away results have been decent this year, but come on.
1.5 points a game, 18 from 12. Well, they're less than you.
Honestly, the whole Arsenal going to win the league. I told you 4 months ago Arsenal win the league. This City team is not good enough. Away from home, they're sink against anybody half decent. I cannot see them putting a run of results together. If Arsenal lose 2 games, it's back level again, and Arsenal still got to go to the Etihad and stuff like that. Listen, Arsenal may well go to the Etihad and lose in game week 33, but they'll go there and lose because the season's already done. Arsenal will have known they've won the title. They're going to win this league by more points than they're in front now, and I'm fairly certain we'll be sitting here next Monday going, fucking hell. He's 8 or 9 points. Like, it's really probably over, isn't it? I can already see the scripts of the weekend. Arsenal scored twice against Sunderland, bore you to death, win 2-0. Own goal gets at least 1, taking his tally to the season to 6 or something. And City will get done at Liverpool. It's a perfect game for Liverpool. Not worry about low block and transitions, stuff like that. City defensively, brittle. They're off it. And they've been off it for, what are they, 1 win in 7 or something?
They're not in good form at all.
This is not.
You're talking about all competitions.
No, one win in 6, isn't it? Sorry, 1 win in 6.
Yeah, they lost to United and they lost in Champions League as well to Bodo. But outside of that, yeah.
I forgot about the Bodo result. Even when they won 2-1 at Forest, it was late on, and that felt like something that could go either way back in game week 18. Look. In fairness to City, missing some key players, and I would also add that I think if Ruben Diaz is back for the Liverpool game, that'll make a difference.
I think they will shore up against Liverpool. I know you're saying that Liverpool get at them. They're not going to play in the same way, James. They're going to know that there's a bigger threat there.
Yeah. How many times has City had a good result at Anfield?
No idea. You're going to tell me.
I think Guardiola, I want to say, has won there once since he joined City. I'm pretty sure that's right. And that was COVID season, so asterisks, like Liverpool's first title. Sorry, not sorry. So I don't think they've won there in front of a crowd, have they? Maybe once, maybe. I'm not even sure if they have. Anyway, yeah, they'll probably sink under that. Liverpool crowd will be up for it. If Diaz comes back, that will help. Because I think he just brings a little bit more composure and stuff. And I think Gay's obviously still adjusting from playing back three, back four. Kusanov, I like Kusanov, but he is aggressive in everything he does. Like it's always, he's a little bit like Romero in that sense. It's all, and he's not as kind of as overly aggressive as Romero, but he's very committed. That's like it's a pro. I'm not really criticizing, but it is the same thing all the time for him. Sometimes you need to stand your ground a little bit. Sometimes Nunes, I mean, Tottenham tried to take him apart in that second half with an overload of players on that left hand side. Nori and O'Reilly are obviously, whichever one plays left back, they're both better going forward than they are defensively. There's weaknesses there. I think City's points total, truthfully, would be worse off if they still had Ederson in goal as well, because goalkeeper he's good in terms of his shot stopping and stuff. Donnarumma and Rodri is not back as the player that got injured, and it's very, very understandable. Yeah, they're not good enough. Sorry. It doesn't mean Haaland's not still a great FPL asset. I know there's kind of more and more chat about selling him. My question to people is, sell him to what?
Okay.
Listen, you could wildcard tomorrow and put a wildcard team together with no Haaland, and you put in like all these kind of like Wirtz, maybe like Semenyo, Enzo's, Rogers, Bruno Fernandes, whatever combination you want, and you put it all together and you can go, I'll have Gabriel, Timber, Chalobah, fuck it, I'll have Munoz or Van Dijk. You're still going to have money left. There's no, we did Liverpool game, we won 4-1, we didn't even mention Mo Salah's name, mate.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Salah, Saka, Palmer. So, and there's not, until something different happens, there's not a reason to sell him. I don't think. And as already said, I looked to say 27. I'm like, I ain't taking him on that week. I don't intend to in 28, 29 or 30 either. Semenyo, I thought, was pretty quiet by the goal. Takes the goal really well. Both City's goals, ironically, come from Tottenham cock-ups of giving the ball away. Bissouma has a pass intercepted. I want to say Bernardo Silva did really well on that. And he's obviously got a really nice touch in front of Romero to assist Semenyo on the second goal as well, which was Dragusin playing a shit ball into an area where they turn it over and we're wide open. So we're 2-0 down at half time. And, well, they're far superior to us. It's very, very clear. They keep the ball well, but we don't lay the glove. And at half time, you're thinking, I knew there was this kind of planned protest, 75 minutes, which obviously didn't happen. I'll talk about that on Tottenham with you. It didn't happen because the team was swarming all over them trying to win the football match, right? Yeah. What happened? Was it a mental thing for City? Don't know. What we can look at it logically and say is Tottenham changed the system at half time.
Sarr gives you energy and work rate and something. Yeah.
We went to 4-4-2. We'll never know if he intended to do that anyway or not. But he may well have taken Dragusin off if Romero wasn't sick. That's the line on Romero, is that he was ill. And apparently he was ill when he was man of the match in Frankfurt last week as well. Okay, got through that one, not this one. I spoke to you before about mentality, Champions League and Premier League. Anyway, whatever. Let's take that on face value. There was a number of us joking for the first couple of minutes of the second half that Romero had probably headbutted Thomas Frank or something similar. But we understand, no, it's legit. It's an illness. So he changes, it goes to a 4-4-2. Put two up front. City have played this system with basically O'Reilly to the left of Rodri, with Bernardo Silva pressing nicely in front and dropping Cherky in from the right-hand side to an 8 position to the right of Rodri, and Semenyo almost joining Haaland as split forwards up front and then push full-backs on. A little bit different than what we're saying. Obviously then with us, the way we were playing 4-4-2, which quite often looks like 4-2-4 because we're quite direct, right, we're just Mulliner on second balls in the same way, say, Manchester United did to Liverpool back at Anfield earlier this season. And the intensity of the game just changed. Yeah. Archie Gray did a run down the right-hand touchline. I thought he was great yesterday at right back, Archie Gray, in the second half. And it ended up with Udogie pushing on from left back, having a shot which Donnarumma tipped over, and the whole vibe just changed. The goal is... You think it should be disallowed? The first goal?
I don't like referees getting involved excessively or kind of that kind of thing anyway. I
certainly can understand the anger from Manchester City's perspective. and wouldn't have had a problem personally if it had been disallowed. It depends what angle. There are a couple of angles where it looks like Solanke does get a bit of the ball, but he does kick through Gay. But also at the same time, I don't know, is it enough for VAR to get involved? I don't know. Like, for me, it's a foul.
I want to set a higher
but
bar for VAR involvement. I would rather, because what would happen in the good old days, James? It would have just been there.
We talk about shirt pulls and stuff like that, and say they only give decisions if it's by consequence. Well, the consequence here is that Solanke kicks the back of Gay and Gay scores an own goal, but they've given it to Solanke. I'm not sure it is. It's an own goal, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And Mark Gay owners, maybe you've got away with that, but then maybe you'll say, well, it was 2-0 at the time and I was expecting some clean sheet points. Yeah, whatever. So anyway, but the momentum was already changing anyway. Like, it wasn't that much of a shock when we scored. What I did think after that was, right, City will go, okay, you've had your 10 minutes, bollocks to that, we're going to start dictating the game again. But it just didn't. And I'd said to Ricky, came with us to the game yesterday, and I said to Ricky, like, City will retreat. It's a guarantee. They've been doing this in so many games now. We've seen it. Think of Arsenal away, even different kind of opponents. Think of Brentford away. A really good example of that earlier in the season, where when they're only one goal in front, they retreat. They don't dominate in the way they used to, and they invite some pressure. They're not good enough to invite pressure. I know what part the theory is. It will open up space for Haalands and Semenyo's on transition and stuff like that. But if you're City, I just think, outplay the opposition. Keep the ball when you're winning. I don't know why it changes. It is something Pep's got going on. It's been going on for a while. I think it's part for Haaland's space on transition, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it for them because they invite too much pressure and games become a bit chaotic and nervy for them. And it wasn't a shock when we equalised. But if you'd have said to me at half time, you're going to get something out of this, I'd have, but what are you smoking? It's impossible.
I agree completely, yeah.
So credit to Frank for changing, but I don't know if the change happened as a consequence of just Romero was ill and he looked at the bench. And if you put on a defensive player, it's a 17-year-old, which he ended up using Janai Byfield, basically right-hand midfield for added time. He's a centre-back, by the way, in terms of how short are numbers. But yeah, those players on the pitch deserve a lot of credit. It's even more so daft from City's position. It's not just you've dominated Tottenham. That Tottenham team that was on the pitch, mate, finished the game. I mean, come on, mate. If that was our team every week, we really would be in trouble in terms of going down, like massively. And even within that, you've got Archie Gray playing right back. It's not ideal, but it's definitely not wing back, by the way. That can't happen again. I said on the pod on the weekender with David that a back three would last as long as Spencer Udogie was available. Yeah, we can't be having Archie Gray at wing back. We've got to play a back four. If we think Spencer's out for about 3 weeks, unless they buy a full back today, specifically a right back because Porro's going to be out as well. So it might change to a back four again at United. Radu Dragusin hasn't started a football match for over a year. And how many times have you and I had the discussion of me telling you this lad cannot play left-sided centre-back?
Yep.
He did all right. Joao Paulinho. I want to go Rio Ferdinand on this. Get the paper. Tell him to sign it. As long as he signs as a centre-back. Tottenham are getting linked with centre-backs today. We don't need one. He is a centre-back because he looks fantastic at centre-back. He's not a fucking midfield player. He's been masquerading as a midfield player, I think, for years. He looks a brilliant centre-back to me. I'll have him play centre-back for me any week. No problem. I don't want him in midfield. Gallagher, toilet again, but crucial impact on the second goal. That's him at his best. Allow him to do that. Get onto second balls and drive at an opponent. Yeah. And Xavi Simons are worth a mention as well. I mean, second half, we ran the football match.
Yeah, he did have a good second half.
But City allowed him to do it.
And such a bad first half. But yeah, look, we'll talk more in Tottenham a little bit about it.
Yeah, and what I want to talk about again is, like, because I've watched that game so many times this season. I've said this about so many games. Like, leaving the field at half time and like, oh, what time's the game start? Why can't you start like that? Why does it have to be like adversity and we're losing, and then Liverpool in the league was the same, Villa in the cup was the same? It's like you're just watching the opposition slaughter you. Oh, got nothing to lose now, let's play. No, I want Tottenham. I get it, United away this week, it's fine. I want Tottenham to start like that. Newcastle at home in a couple of weeks, start like that.
You and me both, James. Tomorrow, you can start. You can moan about how you start games. I'm going to moan about how we finish games, and between us, we'll have a moan about a full game of football.
Just quick fantasy question for you. Would you keep Semenyo or not?
Yeah.
I think so, because I think
Yeah,
the
yeah.
run afterwards is good. What I would just acknowledge to people is obviously we've been really confident on his minutes because he couldn't play in the Champions League. So obviously that period is now ending. Obviously City don't have a Champions League game for a while. We've got League Cup this midweek. The security on his minutes, I think, ends a little bit now. I think he'll stay in the team. It's also the impact of others like Doku being injured, Phil Foden just not being at it again, that I think most likely he would play. So I would
The
hold.
amount of goals he's scored since he's signed for City, he's the second biggest goal threat behind Haaland since he's
Yes.
been there.
Well,
And if Haaland doesn't score, you need goals. You need Semenyo. So I think he's going to play a lot.
well, think back to what we'd said. I want to say kind of roughly when City beat Liverpool about Haaland's goal involvement for City. Like you've got to add something else to that.
And he
And
does that.
Semenyo is a certain guarantee of that, I think. So yeah, if I had him, I'd own him. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't invest in any Manchester City this week. If you've got Gay, I think it's still his long-term hold. O'Reilly owners can move on. Nunes, you probably hold, I think, for the fixtures coming up. And again, on Haaland, I think, truthfully, next couple of weeks, it's probably take him on with probably Fernandes or another this week. And obviously the double in 26. But I want to captain him 27 to 30 personally. And if you sell him, I don't know what you're doing with that money. You don't need it. Just leave him. He's Haaland.
Should we cover off some of the questions we've had in on
Yeah, do
online
it,
as well,
boss.
James? We've got a lot we've actually spoken about in terms of players and what have you, but there's a few here we can cover. We've got to give a shout out to Michael B. He says, "Dear legends," and if you ask a question with that to start with, you know it's going to get answered. He says, "Dear legends and creators, the finest patron in the FPL verse. I'm usually rubbish at FPL, and I've never checked if there is a Manager of the Month award for the Advanced Tier League. Is there? I reckon Michael might have won it. I don't know, James. But you're only going to get that question in if you maybe know that you've won it already, eh?
So, Michael, if you read the terms and conditions on that, if you win the Manager of the Month and you win the prize money, it's only eligible to FPL managers who are inside the top 100k, unfortunately. And I happened to check Michael's rank this morning and he's just outside. So, sorry about that, Michael.
Yeah,
We're
Michael,
joking. Get in my
joking.
DMs. I'll sort you out. Well done.
Reese wants to
Although
know.
I will add, he's not won it yet.
Oh, yes, there's a game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I do need about like an Alderete hat trick, literally. I think, but he's not won it yet.
Okay. Cheto says, would you do Rogers and DCL to Semenyo and Joao Pedro for a hit? He'll be priced out if he doesn't do it this week. And if not, would you prioritise Joao Pedro or Semenyo out of the two?
Why are you buying a Man City player when they're about to play? I know Liverpool as well, yeah, whatever.
Semenyo
But
hasn't
why
got
are you
Fulham
buying a
or
City
whatever,
player this week? Right, so what's the move? Sell
DCL
Rogers. What are you
and
selling
Morgan
Rogers for?
Yeah. Keep Rogers and get Joao Pedro and you're fine.
So Calvert-Lewin to who? Sorry.
Joao Pedro.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
Rogers
Are you
to
sure it's not
Semenyo.
Semenyo to Rogers?
It's Rogers to Semenyo. Would you do
So
Rogers
they're
and
both
DCL
upgrades.
to Semenyo and Joao Pedro?
I mean, if you want to go DCL to Joao Pedro, be my guest if that's what you want to do. I don't know why you'd go Rogers to Semenyo at this week. I don't know why,
Yeah.
personally.
And last but not least, let's go to Ash's question. He says, suggestions for priority transfers besides the usual Bruno, etc., taking into account the blank in 31. Can we get away with just double Arsenal defence, no attack? He's trying to avoid an extra transfer, James.
Yeah, sure. And there's a number of other teams with good fixtures in 26, right? I mean, imagine, for example, you had a midfield of Semenyo, Bumo, Fernandes and Illiman and Dye, for example. Right, well, you wouldn't be benching any of them that week. And that's why for a few people, a bench boost in 26 may well land for a few people. You could throw Ismail Assar into that. You could throw Elliot Anderson into that. There's a number of players you wouldn't want to bench 26. So if you've got that midfield and then you've got like Haaland and Joao Pedro up front, What do you need? They've got two fixtures. Well, the team's good. It's fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Leave it be. So, I suppose the question is an Arsenal attacker a must in 26 if they double? For me, the answer to that is no. Actually, no.
Cool, James. That's a wrap on this episode of Planet FPL. Back at you throughout the course of the week, as we mentioned earlier, with all the content that we have. A Q&A coming for our patrons later today. So if you're interested in that, go and check it out. Other than that, though, stay safe, look after yourselves. Looking forward to Brian Brobby hat-trick tonight. See you later. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other. Smash a like, hit a sub. Audio listeners, a 5-star review goes a really long way. Be nice to each other and play it your way. Cue music, please. Man child.